Thank you so much for joining me today. One of the most common questions that I'm asked by women or ladies who are seeking to date is, why is it that when I just get to know a man, when we just get to know each other, a man disappears? Maybe after the second date or the third date. What is this that is causing them to disappear? And in this video, I'm going to give you 3 reasons as to why men could be disappearing as soon as you get to know each other. Let us get right in. Now, the first explanation as to why a man will leave as soon as you start talking is the standards or requirements that you are placing on the table for you to date with him or her. Now, I know it's a good thing to have standards, to have requirements, and I usually advocate for it, by the way, because you cannot just allow men however they want to get into your life. But sometimes it is unwise to just tell him everything, every single standard you have on the first date. I cannot sleep with a man before we get married, which is a good thing, yes. I cannot pay a bill when I meet with a man, when we go out on a date. I cannot do this, I cannot do the other. And the man may be willing to actually comply with those requirements, but it can be overwhelming because guess what? He's a human being. So some men will feel, oh, this is too much, or they may actually interpret it that perhaps this lady is not interested in me, or she's not interested in dating, and that is why she is making it very hard for me to just to penetrate. She is putting up such a thick wall so that it can be impossible for me to pass through, and so that I'm not going to date her. So starters are good, have them, my dear sister, but don't pour them on the table, if I may use that word. Don't pour them on the table on the first date. It can be very overwhelming. On the first date, you are just getting to know each other. What do you do for a living? Where did you go to school? What are you passionate about, and such. So you may not want to just tell a man every single thing, because it can be too much. Even a man who was good and was willing to comply with those requirements, they may take off, I can assure you. Now, a second explanation as to why men are taking off as soon as you get to know each other is that you could be saying way too much. I have had some women come to my inbox and tell me, I think I need help. I think I talk too much. I think I say too much. Now, I agree. Sometimes talking too much can piss off a man. Some men, they don't want a woman who will not, I don't want to use this word to close the mouth, but a woman who will not even let you talk. Because actually, those people who will not give others an opportunity to talk during a conversation or during a date, those are people who have they have issues. They may be having a hidden agenda. They want to dominate the conversation so that they can drive it in the way they wish. In other cases, it could be that they actually have issues. They actually have issues like emotional abusers. An emotional abuser will silence you. They will not give you an opportunity to talk, and it's because they want the conversation to go the way they want. They will silence you. They will dominate the conversation. They will tell you something that will leave you with nothing to say, so that they can now drive the conversation in the direction that they wish. So talking too much during a date, saying too much, and I want to be specific and say not just talking too much, but what are you saying? If you are saying, if you are narrating your ugly past, how your past was ugly, how you have dated so many men, how so many men have failed you, how so many of your friends do this or the other, how you have a poor relationship with your mom, how you have this. It's too much, my dear ones. It is just too much. Saying too much, revealing too much, especially on the first date or the second date. So you have to be careful. You have to be careful, and especially in the era we are in, men just like women are continually getting enlightened on issues, certain sensitive issues. a man, like those who follow me on my page, they know that childhood issues can affect relationships. They can affect how a person behaves, how a person reasons, how a person controls the emotions, and so on and so forth. So if you just bring out your ugly past on the first date, that one may feel, oh, this is not what I want to sign up for, and so they may decide to leave. So my sister, even though we are not saying that you keep secrets, because some things eventually the man you come to know, what I'm saying is release them little by little as the man goes on knowing you. And the major advantage of doing this is that by the time the man is knowing that you come from a family that is broken, that your mother and your father, even though they live together, they can't see eye to eye, they sleep in separate bedrooms, because yes, there are cases where such is happening. By the time he's knowing that you are failed in this way or the other by your friend, and of course we know that one, I was not even about to mention it. Of course we know you should not tell a man all the men that you should not tell a man all the men that you have slept with, all the men that you have dated, your 6, 7 relationships, 10 relationships that have failed, because that is not information that is important to your relationship. So by the time you are revealing the inevitable information, allow me to say that, this man will have known you more. They will have appreciated who you are. So if you are a good girl, a man will not leave you because you come from a poor background, or because you come from a family that is broken, because they know that you have individuated, you have worked on yourself, and now you are good to go in a relationship. So take things slow, my dear sister. Take things slow. Hakuna haraka. Just take your time. Know each other. Know the basics. Know each other's basics. And then gradually over time, let this man get to know you more. So if you just pour everything on the table on the first day, every ugly thing that you have gone through, every ugly thing about your background, you can be sure he will feel, I don't want to sign up for this. That reason, the language that you use when you meet this man. I know someone is wondering, language? Yes. There are many people who don't know how to talk properly. There are many people who don't have decorum when it comes to talking. You know, this reminds me of a certain girl that I schooled with in high school, and oh my God, that woman could insult you until you forget your name. And you know, I think it had gotten to a point where she could just she would gush out insults. She would gush out insults. That is what I can say. Because something very slight, like stepping on her when you are passing, it was enough to have you called dog, and all those. And you know, dog in Kikuyu is actually flowers. You know, my native language is Kikuyu. And when you say call a person dog in Kikuyu, it sounds even worse than when you say it in Kiswahili and in English. So this lady, I just don't know what was the problem with her, but I guess it is something that that had to do with where she came from. So perhaps that is the kind of language they would use at home, or whatever else was ailing her. I don't know, but she was fond of insulting people. But some people, even though they will not insult you, they don't know how to talk. And maybe you have heard someone say that. You may have heard someone say that lady is beautiful, but the moment I heard her speak, all of a sudden she turned ugly. Yes, the way you talk can actually make you ugly to other people. So it could be that you just don't know to use the right language. And you know, usually say it is not what you say, but how you say it. So you may actually be saying something very sensitive, but because you say it in a language that is friendly, in a language that is accommodative and sensitive of the people around you, it will not even sound like something big that you are talking about. So watch your language, my sisters. Watch your language, especially when a man is just getting to know you. You know, the other day I wrote on my page, for those who follow me by there on Facebook, I'm Mental Health by Jennifer Carey. The other day I wrote that when you're communicating your standards, for instance, you want to let a man know that you cannot, you don't belong to the school of thought that subscribes for sex before marriage. That is the message that you want to pass. So you can say that I don't go sleeping with any man that I meet. Or you can say, I value myself, I fear God, and so I would prefer, or I believe that sex should come after marriage. Now, what have you just done? You have communicated something very positive and attractive about you, that you have values, that you have values that you honor, that you fear God, and that for you, sex has to come after marriage. And let me tell you, the kind of language you use can actually make a man change their mind. If they had come to you and they were hoping, even though they genuinely loved you, they were hoping that they could get to sleep with you before marriage, there is a way you can talk with a man and you make them realize that they actually don't want to do it. They are okay with waiting. You can influence a man to be so, if at all he was a person who was flexible, because we know some are fixated on that it has to be this way, and those are the kind of men who are looking for a plaything, a person to just use and discard. But the way you express it, if a man is flexible, if a man was serious, they were looking for a person they can have a long-term relationship leading to marriage, you may influence them. You can, depending on the language that you talk. And of course, here I have to give a caution that again, as to whether or not a man will be influenced to be the way you want, or to be able to wait for sex after marriage, in the regard of that example that I've just given. As to whether the man is going to wait, it depends on the kind of response they give when you give that standard, when you communicate that standard. How do they respond to it? What kind of comments do they make? And most importantly, how will he behave after you have passed on that message? Because someone who was looking for a plaything, you can be sure they will disappear. They may not disappear all at once. Sometimes they'll just cut the communication gradually, stop calling you. They were calling you early in the morning to tell you, have a lovely day, I love you. And then during the day, they would send a message, just wanting to know how you are doing. And then in the evening, they were wishing you good night. And then all of a sudden, guess what happens? They no longer, he doesn't send the message, the morning message. And when you ask them, they say, oh, I woke up too late. I had to really take a quick shower and go to work. And that is when you know, you notice something, that something is going amiss. In other cases, you find that during the day they don't call you like they would, or they don't send you a message like they would, and then they tell you they were too preoccupied at work. Kidogo kidogo tu, the communication dies off. This is an indication of a person who was not there to stay. They were looking to lay you down and then move on to the next lady. So they can disappear at once, or they can cut the communication gradually. They can behave out, if I may call it so. They can behave out. But whatever happens, just know that this person was not in to stay. There is something they were after. So my point was, the kind of language you use, it plays a huge role. But also, you have to look at the response of the guy once you pass the message that, for me, I'm not ready for sex before marriage. I hope you have learned something from today's video. If you have not subscribed, kindly do. I really appreciate. I really appreciate. And if you are yet to follow me on my Facebook page, Mental Health by Jennifer Kiari is my page, just go over there and let us continue learning.